Tarik Skubal is back throwing pitches, which means it's time to talk about Tarik Skubal trade rumors because the Tigers are playing terrible baseball. Tarik Skubal is a free agent at the end of the year, and as much as we'd like him to stay in Detroit and that Tigers team to push forward, it does feel like the writing is on the wall that they've got to at least attempt to move him right now, and maybe you bring him back in free agency before we get going into all the teams that we think realistically can, will, and should trade for Tarik Skubal. Make sure you are subscribed to the Windup over on YouTube. Over 50% of you who are watching this right now are not subscribed, so click that red subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Big shout out to all our members who get access to the videos early. And of course, big shout out to Prize Picks, sponsor of today's video. You'll hear from them later. James, a lot of teams should want Tarik Skubal. Every team in baseball should want Tarik Skubal, including the team that has him right now, but he's going to be on the move.
I think he's going to be on the move, but even before Tigers fans yell at us, like the American League playoff picture is a joke.
Yes.
So it's not crazy to conceive with Skubal coming back healthy. Like we saw the Tigers literally do this exactly 2 years ago. Be one of the worst teams in baseball, sell at the deadline, and then rip off a hot streak. And last year we saw them be the best team in baseball for 2 months, 3 months, and the worst team in baseball for 2 months. So I don't think the Tigers are necessarily out of it. They don't look like they can get back into it, but it would be silly not to consider trading Skubal at this point.
Yeah, especially because it's not necessarily the most realistic of thoughts that the Tigers will even be able to keep him if he were to stay in Detroit for the rest of the season. If you don't think that you truly can make a World Series run, even though both me and you, oh man, kiss of death for the Detroit Tigers. Had them going quite deep. I had them winning the World Series this year because I won't pick the Dodgers. Even if you got to think that you have a pretty good chance to keep him at that point, because I don't know if when Tarik Skubal hits free agency, the Tigers are going to even be one of the top 5 offers, truthfully.
I kind of wish they were. They probably wish they didn't sign Framber Valdez so they could give that money to Tarik Skubal, which, again, bad call by us there. But I think that the entire league is going to show up for the Tigers if they wind up actually fielding offers on Tarik Skubal. And I think one thing that I think there's some adjusting that probably needs to happen in the public right now about what a return for Tarik Skubal looks like, because just in like a pure baseball brain, you think about the defending back-to-back Cy Young champion, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, getting traded. He should get traded for, to put it politely, a metric fuck ton, a monster haul, a haul that can change a franchise. But if you're
Like
only
we're talking Juan Soto-ish type hauls theoretically.
But if you're only trading a starting pitcher coming off bone chips and elbow, who just got what should we call this surgery?
I saw people calling it Jimmy John surgery, but I think that has more to do
Case Smith
with
and Joy.
Yeah, Tarik Skubal looking a little bit chubby on the mound. Not fat shaming, looks healthy.
No, that's a hoss right there. I don't even, he could put on 10 more pounds. It would only help him through this playoff race. But he got what's basically a new procedure. It's never been done this level before. And he's coming back from an injury that used to take 2 to 3 months in 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's truly fascinating how fast he's coming back.
So there's some buyer beware over the next few weeks what Tarik Skubal looks like. He looked good in the rehab assignment against the children, those poor kids. But I think my brain, when trying to conjure up a Tarik Skubal trade package, just continues to go back to CC Sabathia to the Brewers in 2008. That's the biggest comparison that we have. And the funny thing about that CC Sabathia trade is that he actually was traded for, at the time, one of the top prospects in baseball in Matt Laporta, who went from the Brewers back to the Guards. Never turned into anything, but in that moment, Laporta was considered, again, one of the top prospects in all of baseball. I think another very relevant part about that trade is that CC was traded almost a full month before the deadline.
Yes.
July 7th, which was really weird at the time and looks even more strange looking back, just seeing how every single team wasted the last possible second to make a trade now.
But first, I want to give a quick shout to today's sponsor, Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Use our code HMA to get $50 in lineups instantly as soon as you play your first $5 lineup. So click the link in the description right now, download the Prize Picks app, and use our code HMA to get in on this amazing offer. Not to mention, Prize Picks is so easy to use. Simply pick more or less on a few different players, put them into your lineup, and then see how they do. For our picks today, we are going with hits, runs, and RBI. Got more than 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs for Ben Rice going up against the Cleveland Guardians. More than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then more than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Riley Green of the Tigers going up against the Minnesota Twins. What's awesome too is that Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, even New York. So what are you waiting for? Download the Prize Picks app right now by clicking the link in the description, and make sure to use our code HMA to get $50 in lineups instantly as soon as you play your first $5 lineup. Big thanks to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. Yeah, no, of course, teams wait until the deadline. You try and It's kind of like this weird game of leverage that all these teams will play of trying to wait, but also make sure that they still get their guy because as you get closer to the deadline, the team that has him, of course, gets more desperate. And we saw last trade deadline, a lot of guys who we thought were going to go for a lot more ended up going for basically nothing. Guys like Eugenio Suarez, who was being talked about, was going to bring a haul back and then went for basically nothing. Like,
David
you
Bednar.
just wait Dave Bednar. You wait a little bit longer, these teams get a little bit nervous. The difference, obviously, though, is that it is Tarik Skubal. And if he is healthy, truly, he is the best pitcher in baseball.
He is. I think the health, we're going to see him pitch again by the time I think this video even comes out. But like there probably definitely is some concern around the league about what this procedure actually did to his elbow and how healthy he's going to be the rest of the way. There's also definitely going to be trepidation from teams around the league about Tarik Skubal's salary. He's the highest paid arbitration player ever. And just using that date for CC Sabathia, July 7th, that's like almost dead right there, middle of the season. So let's go rough estimate 50% of the contract. A lot of Major League Baseball owners would balk at taking on $16 million to their salary from this point to the end of the season.
Yes, but I do think that any of the teams that are competing for Tarik Skubal, I don't think it's going to matter. I really don't.
I think possibly.
We've seen teams take on bad pitchers for more money at the deadline. I don't
No,
think
never more money.
No, over multiple years for sure.
Over multiple years for sure, but over multiple years you can massage balance sheets and to adjust your tax penalty. I'm trying to get the list right now of all of the team salaries right now from Baseball Prospectus on COTS contracts, because if you're a team that's close, like you're going to have to, if this puts you into the luxury tax penalty this season, I think a lot of teams are going to balk at that, and then some teams are going to want.
What teams would that be? Like,
I'm trying to load the list right now. It's bad podcasting.
Like, what team would be close to the luxury tax that wouldn't end up moving him? Like, I will say right now, like, I don't think the Yankees are going to be in on Tarik Skubal. I just don't see it. Not with how much pitching that they have. It doesn't seem like something that's a priority for them. That would be a team that's a luxury tax team.
But it's also a team I feel like could do it. They have prospects to trade, and it's like, we don't know what's going to happen to Max Fried. We're still kind of, Garrett Cole's still getting his feet wet. He had one great start, two okay starts. Schlittler has looked more lately. Like, sure, it's a luxury addition, but if you are the Yankees, if you're Brian Cashman, you hear that Tarik Skubal's going to the Dodgers. You start making an offer for him.
I do wonder, too, because Dodgers are definitely one of the teams that are on my list. And to talk a little bit more now about those teams that could trade for him, obviously Dodgers are going to be one of the front runners. They have an absolutely loaded farm system. I do think out of all the teams, they would be willing to move more guys than these others just because they're such an absolute beast of a farm system that they've got there, and they do it every single year with their prospects. Yeah. I also wonder if you're a team like the Detroit Tigers, if you do ask for that premium, knowing that it's the Dodgers and they can afford to spend more. Definitely.
I mean, they kind of did that a few years ago with Jack Flaherty. They got a nice package for him. That was Lorenzo Theron, right?
Tyrone Lorenzo. I don't think he's turned into anything, but
I don't think he has. But I totally flipped that name. But just to now recap salary stuff, 5 teams Major League Baseball are over the last phase of the luxury tax. Dodgers tax payroll is $421 million. The Mets are $380. The Yankees are $340. The Phillies are $313. The Blue Jays are $308. So the Mets are not doing this.
No, I don't think the Mets are. I did not have the Phillies on my list either. I also did not have the Blue Jays on my list. Partially different reasons. Obviously, money has to play a part of it there with the luxury tax stuff, but I think in terms of the Phillies and the Blue Jays, I just don't see the prospect package that they would ever give being better than the other teams that I have on this list, plus the money thing, like you said.
And then weirdly enough, with the $304 million being the last tax threshold this season, there is no team that would take on Tarik Skubal's contract and suddenly go over it. But there are a few teams that could go over the next one, which is $284. And that one being, actually, no, that would only be the Boston Red Sox.
And they're not trading for
They're
him.
not doing that.
No.
So then we get to the San Diego Padres, who've already been rumored as a team that are in. I think Buster Olney said that.
Yes.
And at $258 million, if they take on all of the salary, which there's murmurs coming out that the new ownership is willing to take on salary right now.
Yeah.
If you get him at the trade deadline, that's like $12.5 million. That puts them up to $280 million. So they would still be clear of the $284 million threshold to go from a 62% penalty to a 95% penalty, which that's the biggest jump in percent gained among the luxury tax thresholds.
Yeah, I had the Padres on my list simply because it's A.J. Preller, and A.J. Preller will continue to trade anybody who's anybody for guys that he feels like are bona fide stars, so you can never count them out. But my biggest problem with them is I don't think the Tigers are going to value Ethan Salas just because they have a litany of catching prospects right now. So it's not really something that they need in their farm. And then all the other guys in the system for the Padres are quite far away. Like, I like Cruz Schoolcraft. I like Cash Mayfield. Miguel Mendez is a guy who's been flying up lists. Miguel Mendez being the closest, but he's like 24 in AA or 23 in AA right now. I don't think there's truly any prospect that would intrigue the Tigers enough to really get them going to try and move him to San Diego.
No, I agree with you. That's why I think another team that should be very active in this market, but it's an ownership group that's been kind of a bit too unwilling in our estimation to add this money, who I think if they get Tarik Skubal and a few other things click right, because things haven't really clicked for this team yet, it's the Cubs.
I put the Cubs on mine, yep.
The Cubs right now is sitting at $248 million. They are, even if they add Tarik Skubal, the day of the trade deadline, they'll still be under the $264 million, which is their next threshold. Barely under it, but they'll be under it. So they could get Tarik Skubal, stay in the same penalty that they believe they would be in this year anyway, and desperately need a starting pitcher, have prospects to trade. They probably won't have the best prospect package to give up, but I think a team that's willing to take all the money, which the Cubs should be in this instance. They have a billionaire owner, and they will not go up a tax threshold without a few other trades. They, to me, are probably the best fit on the board, besides the teams who we think are really reluctant to take on money, who should be taking on Tarik Skubal's $12 million for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, like, in the Cubs organization, I know Jackson Wiggins dealing with some injury stuff right now, but that's probably someone that would guaranteed to be involved in this trade just because he's a top 100 prospect in the game, especially from the pitching side.
Great fastball.
Great fastball. You have other big names like Jefferson Rojas, Ethan Conrad that I think will be thrown around. They even have some more major league-ish ready players. I know Josiah Hartshorn, is that how you say it? He's been a super, like, helium guy so far early on in the year. Cubs definitely got some pieces. Like you said, though, I don't think it will be one of the best, but they should be looking to move anybody on their team, basically, to try and get Tarik Skubal, because he could be a difference maker. Not could be. He will be a difference maker for them. Yeah.
He changes the entire complexion of their team. And it changes the complexion of any team. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I also think the Tigers, with having all of these guys on the book, especially Framber's big contract, and having a veteran team with a lot of exciting prospects, I think they'll want more major league-ish ready guys. And I think two guys who I think the Cubs will float very much this trade deadline are Pedro Ramirez and Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw still has prospect shine. He's played much better this season, proved himself defensively, lots of different positions. He's kind of extraneous with some of the players on the edge of the Tigers roster anyway, but like enough good players. Like, I think he's probably better than Colt Keith, and that's the guy who I think they're dying for someone to replace at this point. And Pedro Ramirez is one of the biggest prospect risers in baseball this year.
Yes.
And it probably is a bit of an overbuy, but like if you put one of those two guys with Jackson Wiggins, like that suddenly is, and you take all the money, which again, I think that's more than the Tigers wind up getting, but that's an incredibly nice package for the 2 months of Tarik Skubal.
I still think the Tigers probably do get a little bit more. Like, even just thinking about some of the trade, I think you're overvaluing the money a little bit too much. I really am. I
think you're undervaluing it. Dude, look what these owners are saying to the media right now. You think these guys are like, I'm taking 12 mil right now?
For the ones who are trying to win a World Series right now, which are basically all the teams that we are going to mention. Like, we're not talking about the White Sox. I don't think the White Sox have a shot to get them.
Well, no, because the next phase of this is all of the other teams I think should be desperately in on getting 2 months of Tarik Skubal. And none of these teams will even jump up into the luxury tax threshold if they acquire Tarik Skubal. These teams being the Brewers, the Guardians, the Tampa Bay Rays, even the Chicago White Sox.
I mean, I don't think that the Tigers will trade in division. I think that's just something that I could see them planting a hard flag and being like, the White Sox and Guardians are just not going to give us the best package, so you will not get him. I also kind of respect that from the Tigers ownership being like, fuck the rest of our division. We're not helping you out. We'll give him to somebody else. The Brewers have a chance to do the CC Sabathia.
They should do the same thing, yeah.
And they did with Greinke too, right? Wasn't Greinke a Brewer for like half a year?
Yeah, he was.
So they have a little bit of an organizational history of going after these frontline ace starters, best pitchers in the game. And if you're talking about a farm system that could get rid of a couple top guys and not even feel it, and also talk about MLB ready guys that they could get rid of and not even feel it, they might be in the best position outside of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Definitely. And I think if you get a Brewers team, I think the reason the Brewers were more aggressive with this stuff in the past is because they used to be much more of bargain shoppers as starting pitcher. Not that they're not bargain shoppers as starting pitcher anymore, but the fact that right now it's Miz and Harrison at the top. Yeah. And Harrison will come back to earth a bit. I think Miz right now, actually, I'm doing my new pitcher rankings this week on my channel. I have him as number one pitcher in baseball at this moment.
I think that's fair.
That it doesn't fit as much of a need in terms of if they wanted to go out and just get a monster outfielder. But I don't know if that monster outfielder exists in the trade market right now. So I do think that the best player you can get is Tarik Skubal. And again, like you said, like they could flip. I mean, like you could probably flip Logan Henderson for Tarik Skubal 1-for-1. The Tigers probably take that.
No, they need more.
Dude, I don't think this Tarik Skubal package is going to be like you think it is.
I think you're James. I've been kind of right about this the last few years.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. I've been telling you.
So.
You've been doubting my wits about money recently. I told you Schwarber was going to get paid. I told you Alonso was going to get paid. These teams are not.
I was with you on Schwarber. I was anti-Alonso. And Alonso, it was only you and the Orioles who thought that on earth.
I told you about Bellinger too.
Yeah, Bellinger was one. That was just those teams stare at each other. Yeah, but that's free agent, not trades.
I think teams are not worried about this $15 million of Tarik Skubal that's coming over. The only teams that would be scared are not going to be trading for him. I think if you're scared about this $15 million, they will not play baseball next year. There will not be a single pitch of baseball if we're worried about the contract of Tarik Skubal coming over for half a season.
Dude, have you seen these teams' payrolls? They are scared of this money, 100%.
Teams took Merrill Kelly last year. That was the best pitcher moved, and they traded prospects for him. He sucks. He's horrible.
The Rangers took Merrill Kelly. They're fine to spend some money once in a while. This Brewers team is not.
I think the Brewers would spend it on him, especially because it doesn't affect their payroll, and they so desperately need. And I know as good as Jacob Mizorowski is, we know he's one of the top 5 pitchers in the game, no doubt about it. They still have such a hard time getting over that hump, and I do think it is mostly offense. They need that offense to show up in the playoffs. But if you have Jacob Mizorowski and Tarik Skubal in that rotation, there probably isn't a better 1-2 in the entire league right now. I don't think there is.
No, but I also think you're being disrespectful to Logan Henderson, who, if he's healthy, he's probably
good.
Top 35 pitcher in the league.
Yeah.
The whole sport. He's phenomenal. Honestly, the funny thing is that if they added, this would just hurt for us as Mets fans. Like Logan Henderson, Jet Williams package for Tarik Skubal.
How much did oh no, that was 2025. Okay. Man, the Diamondbacks are giving Merrill Kelly $20 million right now.
Yeah, he got a $20 million deal this offseason.
That's insane. That's nuts.
The Diamondbacks are the funniest, like, kind of poor but kind of rich team in the whole league.
Well, I had them on this list.
Really? You think they would do the trade?
I think if they're gonna go crazy, like they are playing above their skis right now. I don't think that this is a playoff team. Me and you have joked about it a lot. But one thing that we have been saying is that like their starting pitching is the one place where like they desperately need improvement. And imagine if Corbin Burns comes back and you get Corbin Burns, Tarik Skubal going. They've shown that they will make some crazy trades. They don't care about money for like half a season. Maybe you go and move some of your like guys that are consensus top 100 baseball prospects, but not necessarily, I don't think, like needle movers. Maybe you try and do that with the Tigers.
That's why I kind of like the guards. I know I agree with you that it'd be hard for me to see the Tigers doing this in division, but if they're trying to be as open about this as possible,
I agree with you there.
And they know he's not going to sign the Guardians long term, so there's not really any fear about that. So it's like that's no big deal whatsoever. And I think something that the Tigers organization is lacking a bit right now is like a true defensive shortstop. I think McGonigal, while he's made flash plays this year, doesn't seem like that would be his forever home. I think third or second, it'd be much more valuable, and he could hit enough to hold those positions. A guy like Angel, I never pronounced the last name right. Is it Hanau?
Angel Hanau, yeah.
Angel Hanau looks like he's going to be a defensive monster at shortstop. I don't know what's ever going to happen with the bat, but that's someone right there where between him and like Cal Steven,
yeah,
I think that is like an ideal package if the Guardians are willing to take on this money. And if you put Tarik Skubal on the Guardians right now,
they're scary.
They can go to the World Series.
Yes, they definitely could.
And like that to me is the moment where they've had some aggressive deadlines in the past. I'm trying to remember right now.
Remember the trade for Josh Donaldson?
Yeah, that was it. Was that 6? That wasn't 15, was it?
I'll look it up now.
13, 14, whatever it was. But like they,
like that stat pad game. Everyone like you have to remember the guy's season. Like I'm not good at remembering what the year number is. I can just tell you that these things have happened.
No, I'm terrible at that. But like that's like you have a package. You are pretty strong up the middle right
18
now.
18 for Donaldson.
18, yeah, I feel like it was over the hill. But they're the team where they might have the most to gain from trading for Tarik Skubal. And not even saying they have a bad rotation right now, but if you go into the playoffs with Skubal, Williams, Parker Messick, you could fucking light some people up now.
Especially in the American League.
Yeah, American League's terrible. And bad.
The
Yanks are really good, but it really depends on Judge coming back. We still think the Mariners are sleeping giants, even though they're only a few games over 500. Like, there might be an 83-win team that reaches the playoffs in the American League, which is, again, why these teams, like, the Athletics will never do it, but that'd be fun as hell.
That would be so sick. That'd be so sick if the A's made that trade.
The Blue Jays prospect pool has gotten a lot better over the course of the season. Like, they're another team where it's like they don't care about the money, and we don't know which pitchers will actually be healthy for them by the time July, August rolls around. Like, that could be fun, too.
I think that's another reason why the prospect package is going to be bigger is that everyone's going to want him. So it's just competition. It's going to drive up the price. Like
Yeah, that will.
So wait, what's Skubal on the books for this year?
This year's $32 million. So
Okay,
if
so
we get,
Verlander was $28 million when he got traded to the Astros at 34.
but that's also when the Astros, one, had money to spend. They still spend tons of money, and they were starting to not think as analytically. I just think some of these organizations just refuse to take on this level of salary.
Like, you might be right that the Brewers and the Guardians might
Yeah.
refuse that kind of stuff. They should. I don't think that they should be scared. And that's why I
Yeah.
do think that ultimately it does come down to the big dogs, which will be I'm scared about the Braves just because I don't want anything good to happen to the Braves, but I could see them trying to push in some pieces right now.
The Braves are a team, though, that will jump a level of luxury tax, which is something they're often reluctant to do. At $253 million right now, their next threshold is $264.
So they would jump it. Okay.
So they would be, or it could depend on exactly how deep into the season that is. That could be literal decimal points on if
man.
if they go from a 50% to a 62% tax penalty as a team that has this is their first time offense in the luxury tax penalty.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I mean, they like of all the teams right now. Oh man, talk about like they just become the World Series favorites if they get him.
I mean, Skubal and Chris Sale at the top is
That's crazy.
you can't beat that. And also like
that'd be insane.
they have people to trade. Like again, thinking about guys who are close to major league ready, like J.R. Ritchie and Owen Murphy. Those are going to be your starting pitchers for a long time in this league.
Tigers would take them for sure.
Easily. The Braves don't really have many position players to speak of. Even like he's so good in the bullpen, but like Didier Fuentes is awesome.
Yes, that's another guy that could very much be on the move. I know Tate Southazine, who I think was their first round pick this last year, has been flying through the minors already. He's looking really good, so maybe that's a sell high if you're the Braves because you have every position player locked up for the next 100 years.
People love John Hill too. He looks he's the Rafael Furcal clone. He looks like he's going to be a really good defensive shortstop eventually when he gets to the majors. Won't be soon, but eventually.
So I think that's a team that could be scary. We already talked about the Brewers, talked about the Cubs, talked about the Dodgers, D-backs, Padres.
Let's talk about the Dodgers return first because we haven't talked about that more specifically.
So I think for the Dodgers, what will eventually happen if they are going to get him is they are going to be held like at gunpoint, basically. I think it is going to be a ransom. Like, okay.
So I disagree because
Why?
I think they're one of the few teams who are like, give me every cent of that salary.
Yeah, but I think all the teams that are going to trade for him aren't going to balk at it. I really don't. Like that.
I think some of them
with
will.
the Brewers, you might have to give some money to the Brewers or the Guardians. With every other team, I don't think so.
I think even a Braves team would be like, you got to keep $2 million so we don't go over this tax threshold.
Okay.
If it gets close to it like that, or if they want to pull in another player off from the trade deadline.
But then, so it would be what, like probably Emmett Sheehan. And
No, I don't even think they have to give Sheehan. I would say it's
I
either.
think they would have to.
I would say it's like River Ryan or like Jackson Ferris. Honestly,
I don't know if you can trade. I know people like River Ryan. I know he's good, but I don't know if you can trade for like the 27-year-old who's had a litany of injury history.
I think there might be some objective major league evaluators who might prefer River Ryan to Emmett Sheehan right now.
That's okay. That's fair, but man, I get worried about a guy who's older than Juan Soto and still has only thrown 20 innings at the major league level.
And then I think otherwise, like it would just be basically Tibbs or Soroda. Soroda's much better. I think that's
I
kind
would
of
take.
it.
Yeah, I mean, because they're not touching Hope or DePaula. That's not happening.
DePaula could be the best prospect in baseball right now. His batted ball is AA. Like he's insane. And
He's a double machine.
yeah. And Hope and Quintero have both taken hits with his prospects this year, but I still think those are both definitely major league guys, especially Quintero's defense and Hope as being a positive platoon dude. But I think Soroda, River Ryan gets it done like that with all the $16 million.
God, fucking. You know what's even crazier about that is that they got Mike Soroda from the Reds for Gavin Lux.
Yeah.
Like I saw Meek Phil talk about this today on Twitter. Shout out Meek Phil, where he was like, like it's fun to shit on the Dodgers and their prospects and all this kind of stuff, but like also the Reds are idiots. They took Gavin Lux and gave up a prospect for him. Like, what were you thinking?
It was terrible for them. But it's just the Dodgers process-wise are better than every team in baseball right now. And they have the money just in case they make mistakes to wash them all away.
I got two fun chaos teams to talk about in the American League here to kind of wrap up mine, unless you have some other names.
Okay.
We've heard some inklings before that the Tampa Bay Rays have been interested in these big-name players at the deadline. Tampa Bay Rays would be – they do that, that would be sick. That would be awesome. That would be amazing to see. And another team that has, like, the farm system that I think very well could get it done.
I think they're a team that also would do it as well. And I think, again, they have pieces to get it done easily. I don't even know if they would dump a guy like Brody Hopkins for Skubal, honestly. I think they think he's next up.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pitching a lot better like the last month or so. I think
the stuff is just insane.
Yeah, the stuff's insane. But that's probably the guy that they have to, right?
Or they could just reflip for it. I know he's not pitching great either this year, but like,
How long is I know Pepio's major injury right now, but like, what's Pepio's control?
I think 2 more full years.
Is it like Pepio and like maybe like an interesting younger prospect?
Maybe, but Pepio. I mean, do you want damaged goods? Pepio, it's 2 more years of arbitration. Yeah, so I had that one.
So in 2029 free agency?
Yeah, and he's only 1 year older than River Ryan.
That's crazy.
I mean, again, further away, if they want closer guys to the major leagues, like Anderson Brito, who they got from the Astros in that 3-team trade this year, has exciting stuff. TJ Nichols is in the system. He's good. People like Santiago Suarez, but he's dealt with some injury stuff. Like the Rays would be able to give more volume. I'm just not sure if the Tigers want volume. I think the Tigers want major league players literally maybe even the rest of the season.
This isn't a rebuild. This is a retool to try and be more competitive again in 2027 if they were to trade Tarik Skubal.
Which is why, funny enough, the Brewers with these guys, like
I know,
like you know how Shane Rowan is so disgustingly valuable right now. Like he could start
he's so good.
He could start Game 3 for the Brewers in the playoff series, and I'd be like, yeah, that's a guy.
But also, you could have Kyle Harrison start Game 3.
Yeah, like Luis Pena and Shane Rowan would be like
that'd be a sick move.
That beats the Dodgers package, and it's probably also not giving up anything really guaranteed.
No, not at all. I mean, Luis Pena we think is gonna be very good, but like again, middle infield guy who's a little bit smaller.
He was 19 years old. Like, if the Tigers want a guy that young, like, because otherwise, like, again, the Athletics are a team that I wish they would push chips in. I just don't know if they believe they're ready. But if Gage Jump keeps pitching like he's pitched, I know that he's gotten some good batted ball luck so far, and you won't continue to get good batted ball luck in Sacramento or Las Vegas this week. Did you know the A's were playing in Vegas all week?
I did, yeah. I've been talking to Fuzzy. He's been trying to get me out there. I was like, I don't know if I can do Vegas 3 times in 4 months.
Especially while the Knicks are in the playoffs. But I had no idea. I was talking about it on my channel. I was like, yeah, Sacramento's going to be 100 degrees all week. People are like, it's going to be in Vegas. I was like, all right, still going to be 100 degrees.
It's still going to be 100 degrees, and the ball's going to fly even more.
But that's a team I wish would do something like this. It's just, there's no way it happens. But like that, Skubal's from the Bay. I mean, maybe he'd even hate pitching in Sacramento compared to the team that got ripped out of Oakland.
You know which team I really wish would do this? And this is just talk.
Nationals.
No, not the Nationals. Absolutely not. I wish the Mariners would do it.
Yeah,
I wish the Mariners would do it.
They're already fighting about pitching.
Like that would be sick, right? Because you would probably move Bryce Miller would probably be the more valuable of the pitchers, right?
Yeah, but I don't think a team's going to trade a good major league starting pitcher already. Like it did that good of a major league.
But that would be it.
Pitcher.
It would be Bryce Miller for Tarik Skubal, like nothing else.
Where's their payroll at right now? I want to see how close
because
they are to these luxury
they do
taxes.
Care about payroll. We know that
100%.
They have no interest in ever spending money. If the Mariners spent a little bit more, they would just dominate the American League.
No, so right now the Mariners are at, according to Spotrac, 197.
So they're fine.
Yeah, their tax threshold is 244. They're not
even close.
Not even close. That's embarrassing, honestly.
Embarrassing, but that's my dark horse pick. I think Jeff Paston's also mentioned it, that he wishes and hopes that the Mariners do go after it, because that would be, I think, a kill shot for the Mariners in the American League. That's how you just become the best team. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
They might even be the best team already. But I don't know. I guess if you just trade wow. You could probably, could you get away with like Emerson Hancock? And
I don't think you can get away with Emerson Hancock. I don't think
even
so.
Look how good he's pitched this year, guys. Come on, look at them.
What's George Kirby's control? You should trade George Kirby for him? No.
Definitely would not do that. I wouldn't even trade Kay Anderson for him.
Oh, no, I would not trade Kay Anderson. I think it's Bryce Miller. You get Bryce Miller, that's the only thing you get.
Sloan's interesting.
You would trade Sloan?
I wonder who has more value right now in terms of Major League front office between Sloan and Bryce Miller. Because Bryce Miller looks back. His stuff is insane. His command is back. Like, he looks fantastic right now. It's still a weird situation with him and Luis Castillo. I wonder. But the Mariners' position player prospect pool has taken a hit.
Do you, if you're the Mariners, do you say we'll give you Luis Castillo to kind of even out some money stuff, but we'll throw in some big prospects down the farm?
Like who?
Like maybe you get a Felnin Celestine.
I'm not as in love with these Mariners position player prospects as I was.
Montez though. You seen him out on the road?
We're still waiting for it though. But like Montez, Arroyo, Farmelo, Celestine, like you're still not seeing as much, I think, to make those guys like real elite prospects. But again, I don't think it's going to take real elite prospects to get Skubal.
I'm interested to see. The market is going to be wild.
It's going to be fun.
As soon as we see a pitcher that's worse than Tarik Skubal get moved, we will know where the price is set.
Well, it's going to be a massive pissing contest between basically the Mets and what's the opposite of a pissing contest? A shitting yourself contest.
A shitting contest, yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be between Freddie Peralta and Tarik Skubal who gets moved and which team can then hold everyone else hostage.
Yeah, because this trade deadline might get crazy.
This is just a really good chance that like Skubal gets moved. Even Freddie Peralta's still a top 30 pitcher in baseball. Like the two starting pitchers of that caliber getting moved is serious. A lot of really good teams who we thought were really good suck. So that's good for trade deadlines.
Suck a lot, yeah.
Between like the Astros, the Mets, the Red Sox, Tigers, like there's the Giants, some big time players could get moved.
But we want to know who you guys think could be in for Tarik Skubal down in the comment section below. Did we miss anybody? Or the Rockies going to sneak in last second? You never know. Pirates. They need more starting pitching. That's something we've always said about them. Not enough starting pitchers on that team. Make sure you're subscribed to the Windup so you don't miss out on the content. If you want to follow James on social media, you can follow him at
James Shiano.
I'm Draft Nick Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.